But instead of playing the world's biggest hits, I ended up playing songs, I guess you could say God's biggest hits. You know, the songs that gave him glory. And he used that music to change my life, to bring me closer to him. I remember when I first started working at the Joy FM, one of the big songs back about almost 10 years ago was a song called My Own Little World by Matthew West. And it reminded me that it wasn't about me, it was about him. And giving him my life, control of everything. And also opening my eyes, stepping out in faith, seeing the needs around me. Because I was one that would just, I had been a devout follower of Jesus all my life. But I would come to church, and I would leave, and then I'd be the rest, go about my week. But instead, that song opened my eyes to say, you know what? Every day, I need to be living my faith. What is the bigger picture? What am I missing out on? Is there a better purpose for my life? And there was a part of that song, I'll just sing the little part of it, that really has ended up being my prayer for that. It's, Father, break my heart for what breaks yours. Give me open hands and open doors. Put your light in my eyes and let me see that my own little world is not about me. It's not about me. It's about God. And what difference I can make in people's lives, allowing God to work through me, letting me be the vessel. It's hard at times. I'm broken. I fail quite often. But I still let that be my prayer. God, okay, here's the new day. What can I do to glorify you? What can I do to make a difference in someone else's life? And it's been an absolute blessing to hear people's stories that God working through what's done at the station, touching people's lives. Remember that story at the beginning I told you about, where the woman who shared her story about having trouble forgiving her father and finally learning to let go? Well, when she started reaching out to her dad, he at that time was not a Christian. He wasn't a follower of Jesus. The daughter eventually told her dad what sparked her to finally reach out to him. She opened up and told him about God's forgiveness and how it taught her to forgive him and let go. And that was the seed that began to sprout in her dad's life. A couple of weeks later, he calls her to say that he is going to be participating in a Bible study about forgiveness. And it eventually led him on a walk with Jesus and gave his complete life to him. That's the ultimate goal. That's what we are called to do. God uses songs. He uses all of our stories to lead people into a relationship with him through Jesus. He wants for each one of us to do that. And he calls us to use what he has done in each of our lives to share with others. Maybe you related to some of the stories today. Maybe somebody's story here touched your heart. Or maybe it inspired you to share your story. That's what I'm hoping. That it's inspiring you to share your story with someone you may know. Or maybe it's a complete stranger. You could be in Walmart and you just happen to strike up a conversation with the cashier. Don't miss out on that opportunity to share your faith and help them and plant that seed in their life so that they can grow closer with God. I love the story in Luke, chapter 8. After Jesus has casted the demons out of a man, even though the man wanted to follow Jesus, wherever he went, Jesus said, go back home and tell what God has done for you. And the man went through the town telling what Jesus had done for him. We're not meant to keep our stories locked up in a safe. Get out there and give God the glory for what he has done in your life. Let God use you to bring all of those people you encounter into a relationship with him. Let that be your ultimate goal. Let God use you to bring others closer to him. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15. But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. We're going to close out with one more song that highlights that theme, that brings home this theme for today. No matter what our story is, in the end, it all points to Jesus. Whether it be a painful past that led us to grace, or it was a story that strengthened, or something that strengthened your faith, your walk with Jesus, or the reassurance that he's still present in the midst of your struggles, in the midst of your hard times. Let's use that story to give God the glory and show others that there is hope for them through Christ Jesus.